Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today we're looking at the Season 20 push build, which is the Ice and Fire Wizard. It's a hybrid channeling build using both Meteor and Hydras for insane damage. We've got incredible toughness and almost total map control. It's really easy to play, and as things stand, I think this is probably going to be my main next season. Now in the background you're going to see me do a GR101, that's with just under 900 Paragon, but my Legacy Dreams gem was only about 90, the Trapped was under 70 and the Taeguk was 25. Zero augments, super easy to play and it's a lot of fun. Plus it's also only available for Season 20, makes really good use of the season theme. But before we begin, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Black Desert Online. BDO is a combat focused MMORPG with next gen graphics and a seamless open world, meaning no loading screens. There's recently been a new class added to the game, the Guardian. Using a giant battle axe and magic drawn from the earth, the Guardian is a tough brawler who takes absolutely no prisoners. The game has a whopping 19 classes to choose from, rich crafting and economy systems, and is frequently updated with free content and expansions. Once you buy the game, all the updates are free and you can actually try the game for free for 7 days by clicking on the link in the description, which I would encourage you to do if this game looks like your kind of thing. Thanks again to Black Desert Online for sponsoring, and I hope you enjoy your free trial. So kicking us off, guys, this is a Legacy of Dreams build. So once the gem is ranked up to 99 and you have all of your slots filled with Ancients, this is a 9750% multiplier. Now just in terms of the Hydra damage, the set that's been changed now does 12,000%, so we're only really one elemental roll extra away from kind of matching that, plus we get all of our Meteor damage as well, so that's kind of nice. Now with it being a channeling build, we're going to take the Etched Sigil offhand. Whilst we channel, we get free arcane spenders and they deal extra damage, which is really nice. We're also going to take the Death Wish, so again whilst channeling, all damage is increased by up to 325%. This may well end up going in the cube because it's quite a hard item to find, but you can swap it in and out with the Serpent Sparker if you want to. So this is the Ice and Fire Wizard, so Ice is going to come from the Hydra and also from Ray of Frost, and Fire is going to come from Meteor Shower. Now the two spenders are going to be buffed up by the channeling bonuses, so we'll look at the Hydra first and how we're going to juice that up. We're going to take the Serpent Sparker. This is going to give us an extra Hydra, which is really cool, and increase the damage by up to 450%. We're also going to take the Magistrate Helm. This has got two interesting effects. One is, again, we get up to 450% damage, which is nice, and we also get periodic Frost Novas coming out of our Hydras. Now these two items have been reined in since the first cycle of PTR, but the Hydras still do hit pretty hard, so pretty nice. So Meteor is also going to be buffed up by Nilf's Boast. We're going to get a 600% multiplier on Meteor, and if it hits 3 or fewer enemies, we're going to get up to 900%. So mine are pretty crappy, but they still do the job just fine. In the cube, you're going to take the Grand Vizier. This is going to reduce the arcane power cost of Meteor. You're probably not going to manually cast it very often, if at all, but the important thing is we get another multiplier, 400%. Now both those channeling bonuses are going to be buffed up by the Convention of Elements. And the great thing about this is we're going to get 2 elements that we benefit from. So up to 200% damage on the Hydras, we're going to get it when it's on the cold cycle, and the Meteor when we get to fire. So it's pretty much having 200% extra damage half of the time. We've also got a Squirt's Necklace, so this will give us a double damage modifier provided we're not taking damage. We're going to shield ourselves up pretty well, so this will pretty much be up all of the time, and if it does drop, you just have to back off a little bit until you get your shield up again, and it starts to creep back up. So again, another modifier, really nice. We're going to take Mantle of Channeling. This is going to give us an extra 25% damage whilst channeling, and also 25% damage reduction. Again, another nice damage boost. We're going to take a Witching Hour Belt, so we'll be able to stack an extra 50% crit damage and some attack speed. So again, going to buff up our damage pretty nice. So we're going to take the Bane of the Trapped, which is going to give us a flat damage increase. Now we're going to have a lot of frozen stuff because the Hydras will cast a Frost Nova from the Helm, which is nice. But we're also going to take the Frostburn Gloves. So cold generally is going to get a 20% buff, but we also have this 50% chance to freeze when we use a cold skill. So the Hydras can freeze by Frost Novaing, they can freeze by hitting, and also whilst we're channeling, because Ray of Frost is a cold skill, we've got a 50-50 chance of freezing whenever we hit something. So we really can lock enemies in place with a combination of the Ray of Frost and the Hydras. Really nice, and it does give us extra damage from the Trapped. We're also going to take Taeguk, so whilst we channel we get a stacking damage increase. We also get 20% armor from this gem as well, so again, another multiplier. Plus we're going to eke out a bit more damage when we get to the passives. Now I've mentioned incredible toughness. The Legacy Dreams gem with every slot as ancient will give us 52%, so that's a pretty nice start. We've already gone over the Mantle of Channeling, that gives us 25%. We've gone over the Teagut, which has given us 20% armour. We're also going to take the Aquila Cuirass. Arcane Power should be full pretty much the entire time after we start the Rift. That's going to give us 50% damage mitigation, really nice. We're going to take the Parthen Defenders because we're doing so much freezing that if things do get close we want to freeze them either with the Hydras or with Ray of Frost. This sends your damage reductions through the roof, makes you really tough and tanky. We're also going to take Ashnagar's Blood Braces, which will double the effectiveness of our shields, so we've got quite a lot of damage reduction. Now we've got one last layer which is again pretty huge. We're going to take Halo of Carini, and that's going to give us a 80% damage reduction whenever Storm Armor electrocutes something. So as you can see, we've stacked quite a lot of layers of mitigation, so the Squirts buff should be up all of the time because we are just so tough and tanky. Plus we've also got some passives that will increase our toughness even further. But looking at the skills first, Ray of Frost is going to help proc the Frosties, so this is going to keep enemies locked in place. We also reduce the channeling cost down to 11 arcane power, so again it helps out with keeping Aquila Cuirass up, so that's quite nice. Hydra, Frost Hydra, this obviously again is just a cold skill. We're going to proc the Frosties again with them, so they'll freeze with the Frost Nova, they'll freeze when they hit, so pretty nice. Meteor, Meteor Shower, I just think this just looks incredible. Obviously it fits with the Ice and Fire theme. In theory you could probably swap out the runes for something else, but I do like how this looks and it does do an awful lot of damage, so again we benefit from 2 COE cycles by choosing fire. Storm Armor, Power of the Storm, this is going to give us the Carini buff, 80% damage reduction. Whilst it's active we're also going to get 3 arcane power reduction, so again it means we're not going to have any arcane power problems. Magic Weapon Deflection, this is going to give us 10% extra damage as well as give us an absorb shield which will help keep the squirts up. And Teleport Wormhole, I've gone for this because you don't really want to be teleporting about too much because you want to keep up your channeling stacks, and I tend to find that if I'm in trouble an extra charge of this is really handy, but you could swap it out for Safe Passage and get 25% damage reduction. I just like Wormhole just for the extra utility, but by all means you can swap that one. Passive wise, we've gone for Power Hungry, which is going to give us extra damage for enemies further away. It's really handy for the Rift Guardian because you can pop your Hydras on top of him, teleport 30 yards away and deal extra damage. Should be frozen for a while, so this does help quite a bit. Unwavering Will is going to give us extra armor, resistance and damage, so 20% armor, 20% all res and 10% damage when we stand still for 1.5 seconds. Perfect for channeling. So Unstable Anomaly will give us a cheat death. If we do drop our shield then obviously the squirts mean we take extra damage, so you might use this from time to time. And then Galvanizing Ward is going to give us a pretty big shield, and this is how we're going to keep our squirts up. So this is probably ideal passive selection. If you do want to push this to its extreme, maybe take Unstable Anomaly off and you want to play it at range. But if you do prefer close range you can go for Audacity, which will give you extra damage as well. But as I say, these are the ones I've been using and works pretty well. Now in terms of stats, Meteor damage can go on your boots and probably ideally on your offhand, and then you can get Hydra damage on chest piece and shoulder. Now I try and get at least 1 roll of each, preferably 2 would be kind of nice, and you can obviously split them. So the only gear piece we didn't go over was pants, and that's because we probably want a Swampland Waders, which I haven't found. They'd give you elemental damage, so I'd say you probably want to get cold on your Frostburns because that obviously is a default roll. Maybe cold on your trousers and then fire on braces and amulet, so 2 fire, 2 cold would be pretty nice. In terms of resource cost reduction, a Topaz in the helm and APOC on the source will have you completely covered, but if you did pick it up on gloves or on shoulders then you might want to swap out your APOC roll off here, or maybe try a life gem just to buff up your toughness even more. Now in terms of area damage, this will only benefit manually cast Hydras and manually casted Meteors. I found my clear speed improved when I rolled for area damage on at least one thing, so again something maybe to play around with, and you might be able to do a bit more damage by taking area damage on a few other slots. But other than that guys, you just want to stack double crit and toughness. You don't need any cooldown at all, which obviously makes the build do a lot of damage and very tough. You just want to try and make sure your sheet crit is about 10 to 1, so 10 times the crit damage then your crit chance. So let's take it for a spin and see how it does. So when we get in, we're going to pop Storm Armor, Deflection, pop a couple of Hydras down, and then just channel away, and stuff pretty much should just melt. So with everything being frozen, we've got obviously tremendous damage reduction. So there really is very little chance of the squirts buff dropping off, and as I say, we benefit from both fire and cold cycles, so really nice. So again, everything's frozen, not really doing as much damage. Now this possibly isn't a great map, because I suppose in theory you can freeze stuff by doors like this and you can just stand here and channel. They can't really move, which is really nice. So yeah, pretty easy to play. Juggernaut obviously will give you a little bit of problem because they're just so much tougher than regular enemies, but you can take them down. It's not like you've got to completely skip them, or at least not at the moment. It also does pretty well for the Rift Guardian. So obviously ideal best practice would be to freeze all of these enemies over here, and then they'll be taking extra damage. But as you can see at the moment, we're melting this pretty hard, so we almost don't have time to get ourselves set up properly. But you can just re-drop your Hydras down wherever you want, so you don't actually lose your Taeguk stacks, which is kind of nice. So if you want to recast your Hydra over here, your Taeguk is still going, which is nice. And again, it just means you can plop them like here and here. You could freeze incoming traffic whilst the meteors are coming down. So it is, it's fun. It's so easy. It's really incredibly tough, and it's fun. Meteor is definitely one of my favourite builds in the game. It just visually, I just find it looks really good, really relaxing and chill to play. So you just cast the Hydras down, locking everything in place. If it does start moving, Ray of Frost will pick it up, and yeah, it's pretty good, pretty easy. So we're taking some damage, so we just back off now. Shields will restart, squirts will restart, and as I say, you can just lock everything in place with your freezing abilities, and then your meteors will do quite a lot of damage. So you could play around with the Xyz Stone of Vengeance. That might give you another multiplier. Obviously at some point you might want to swap over to a Stricken, but all in all, I think this is there's quite a lot of base things that I really like about this, and quite a lot of things you can do with it. So yeah, so that would be the Rift. So I think we'll probably jump out of this, because otherwise we'll be here for about 10 minutes whilst I clear this. But yeah, that's pretty much how the build works. So that's the build, guys. I hope you like it. A thumbs up is always appreciated. Thanks again to Black Desert Online for sponsoring. I hope you enjoy your 7-day free trial of that game. I'll be back with some more PTR footage as soon as I can. Take it easy. Peace.